The quiet recalculation, how SB19 forced the industry to rewrite its rules. No press release prepared the market for this shift. No chart position could capture its full significance. But for those who measure cultural impact in decades, not trends, a new reality has quietly cemented itself. The architecture of global pop is no longer governed solely by capital. A new blueprint exists, and it was drafted not in the boardrooms of Seoul, but through the journey of a single group from the Philippines. This isn't about viral moments or social media metrics. It's about a fundamental recalibration of value. For years, the industry operated on a simple, proven calculus: massive capital investment, plus polished production, equals global success. The system was perfected, the path was clear. But what if the formula itself has changed? What if the most valuable currency is no longer money, but control? This revelation doesn't arrive with fanfare. It emerges in the quiet assessments of executives, promoters, and strategists who are paid to see the next wave before it breaks. Their attention has shifted. They are no longer just asking which group has the biggest budget. They are asking which one owns its story. And in that question lies the seismic, unspoken shift that SB19 represents. Public success is celebrated loudly. Industry reassessment happens in silence. For decades, the global idol playbook was authored, refined, and dominated by a powerful triad: SM, YG, and JYP Entertainment. Their model was a triumph of capital and scale. It was a closed ecosystem of intensive training, multi-million-dollar production, and strategic global branding, a machine designed to manufacture icons for worldwide export. It worked. It gave the world household names and defined a generation of pop. The system was considered not just successful, but immutable. Yet, within any dominant system, the seeds of its own evolution often take root elsewhere. SB19 did not emerge from this established factory. They arose from the Philippine pop scene, under management not known for idol production. From an industry perspective, this was not an advantage. It was a deficit. They lacked the pre-built infrastructure, the guaranteed promotional pipelines, the immense financial runway. By the old rules, they were operating from a position of structural weakness. This is where the recalibration begins. What the industry initially perceived as a weakness, the lack of a corporate machine, became the very source of SB19's unassailable strength. Forced to build without a pre-existing blueprint, they cultivated assets that capital struggles to buy: profound artistic ownership and a fan community built on co-creation, not just consumption. The first signal was in the creative foundation. From the outset, SB19's members were not merely performers of pre-packaged material. They were songwriters, composers, and narrative architects. This is a critical distinction that alters the entire relationship between artist, product, and audience. In a landscape often defined by external hit-making teams, SB19's music arrived with a built-in signature, their own. For executives analyzing longevity, this is a key metric. Artists who are stakeholders in their own creativity are inherently more sustainable, more adaptable, and possess an authenticity that resonates on a deeper frequency. Fans don't just stream a song, they connect with a story told by the storyteller themselves. Forced to build without a pre-existing blueprint, they cultivated assets that capital struggles to buy: profound artistic ownership and a fan community built on co-creation, not just consumption. The first signal was in the creative foundation. From the outset, SB19's members were not merely performers of pre-packaged material. They were songwriters, composers, and narrative architects. This is a critical distinction that alters the entire relationship between artist, product, and audience. In a landscape often defined by external hit-making teams, SB19's music arrived with a built-in signature, their own. For executives analyzing longevity, this is a key metric. Artists who are stakeholders in their own creativity are inherently more sustainable, more adaptable, and possess an authenticity that resonates on a deeper frequency. Fans don't just stream a song, they connect with a story told by the storyteller themselves. Interactions that bypassed corporate staging. SB19 mastered a crucial modern truth: they didn't need a PR department to define them. They could define themselves, directly and authentically. In doing so, they didn't build a fan base, they built a tribe. They cultivated not consumers, but co-creators who organized streaming goals, charitable projects, and cultural movements. From an industry vantage point, this changes the risk profile entirely. A group supported by capital has an audience. A group empowered by control has a nation. Capital buys visibility, but it cannot mandate loyalty. Control, however, forges a covenant. This is the quiet realization now circulating in strategic meetings. Depth of engagement has begun to rival scale of investment as a predictor of stability and impact. The contrast between the two models, capital versus control, is not merely philosophical. It manifests in tangible, observable outcomes. The capital-driven model delivers high-gloss production, expansive tours, and relentless marketing. Its output is polished, aspirational, and systematically released. The control-driven model, as exemplified by SB19, delivers personal ownership, organic cultural resonance, and purpose-driven artistry. Its output is relational, authentic, and embedded with identity. The global market is increasingly favoring the latter. The digital age has democratized the tools of virality and broken down traditional gatekeepers. What rises to the top now is not just what is shiny, but what is real. Fans, as sophisticated cultural participants, crave narrative over mere gloss. They seek relatability, shared identity, and the empowerment of seeing their own stories reflected on a world stage. SB19's core narrative, "We started small, we struggled. We are here because of you," is a more powerful engine for community than any storyline drafted by a marketing team. It represents the global South, Filipino identity, and listeners historically peripheral to mainstream pop narratives. This isn't just music, it's representation, and representation is a force multiplier. This shift redefines the very concept of cultural impact. The old model measured success in charts, awards, and revenue, all important, all tangible. The new model adds a layer. Legacy built on shared ownership. When fans see themselves reflected in the artists, they don't just follow a career, they champion a cause. They don't just buy an album, they protect a legacy. This turns fandom from a demographic into a decentralized cultural force. Capital builds audiences, control builds ecosystems. The question, then, for the established industry is not whether it can outspend this new model, but whether it can adapt to its logic. The major entertainment conglomerates possess unparalleled resources, networks, and expertise. What they are now compelled to consider is a recalibration of control. We see early indicators: idols gaining more songwriting credits, groups sharing more unfiltered content, companies engaging in deeper fan dialogue. These are not mere concessions. They are strategic adjustments to a new paradigm where authenticity is the premium currency. The future winner is not likely to be the entity that chooses capital or control. It will be the entity that successfully hybridizes them. It will be the label intelligent enough to leverage its infrastructure not to constrain artists, but to empower their authentic vision. It will be the artist who can harness both professional polish and personal truth. It will be the community that is invited from the stands onto the creative field. SB19's journey demonstrates that this hybrid model is not only viable but potent. Authenticity, they have proven, can scale. Ownership resonates louder than advertising. A dedicated community will amplify a message further than any bought media campaign. What does this mean for the broader pop culture landscape? It signals a fundamental redistribution of power. The industry is no longer a top-down system governed exclusively by capital, gatekeepers, and traditional promotion. It is now a dynamic, multi-directional network influenced equally by social virality, fan communities, and artist agency. The artist's role has expanded from performer to entrepreneur, content creator, and community leader. The fan's role has expanded from consumer to curator, amplifier, and co-creator. The new equation is clear. The old model posited that capital plus marketing equals fame. The new model demonstrates that control plus community equals cultural impact. And when culture shifts, markets and industries must inevitably follow. SB19's achievement is that they did not simply break onto the charts, they provided a viable, working blueprint for how a pop act can achieve global significance on its own terms. The final, quiet takeaway for the industry is this: control is the new capital. If the K-pop giants are the undisputed architects of modern pop's global infrastructure, then SB19 has authored the essential addendum to their blueprint. They have proven that narrative ownership, emotional investment, and democratized platforms can create momentum that rivals, and in key aspects, surpasses, pure corporate might. This is not a prediction of a distant future. It is a report on the present reality. The next global pop revolution will not be announced with a corporate press conference. It will echo first in the forums, group chats, and shared projects of a fan community that sees its own power reflected in the artists it supports. It starts not with a check, but with a choice. SB19's rise is the evidence. They didn't just enter the industry, they quietly, definitively, changed its rules. Capital can purchase exposure. Control builds culture that people choose to inhabit. Audiences no longer follow products. They follow purpose. The next major wave in global pop will not originate from strategy sessions in executive offices. It will emerge from the relationships forming inside dedicated fan communities, from artists who refuse to surrender their voice, and from the steady accumulation of trust that no marketing budget can accelerate. SB19 did not merely climb the charts. They changed the terms on which the game is played. And the world, whether it fully realizes it yet. The new equation is clear. The old model posited that capital plus marketing equals fame. The new model demonstrates that control plus community equals cultural impact. And when culture shifts, markets and industries must inevitably follow. SB19's achievement is that they did not simply break onto the charts, they provided a viable, working blueprint for how a pop act can achieve global significance on its own terms. The final, quiet takeaway for the industry is this: control is the new capital. If the K-pop